Hello and welcome to the SME Focus Show powered by MTDCNC. I'm Mark Weymouth from Sensor Specialist Plus Automation. This show, as always, aims to highlight aspects of UK manufacturing or topic of interest to SMEs. And therefore this week we have a returning guest in the form of Poggy Murray Whitham, and he is introducing us to Kim Elson, Workshop Manager, and Jilly North, Workshop Assistant of Loddon Social Enterprise. Loddon is a charity providing adult daycare services in Basingstoke for more than 50 years. The fit with this show, though, in particular, is that it provides kitting and assembly services for businesses in industries, including aerospace and automotive. And most importantly, it's looking for new customers. So, hi, folks. Welcome to SME Focus.
Hi.
Morning.
Morning.
Thanks very much for having us, Mark.
Welcome. I think it's going to be an interesting story. It's certainly a worthwhile story. So let's see, and look forward to hearing a bit more. Obviously, myself and Poggy have been posting a fair bit on LinkedIn recently to try and draw a bit of attention to Basingstoke from the wider UK population. But hopefully, you ladies are really going to tell us what it's all about, and I'm sure it's going to be interesting. Can I therefore kick off and ask each of you to quickly tell me a little bit about yourself and how the time really leading up to your first dealing with Loddon, please? So if I kick off with Poggy first.
Yeah, absolutely. So my name is Poggy Murray Whitham. I'm founder and director of OutEngineered and chief operating officer of Diversity. So as you know, Mark, my background's in automation engineering, something that we share as our background in sensors and that kind of world. But my work predominantly for the past few years has been on diversity, equity, inclusion within the engineering and manufacturing spaces. And I was at a show earlier this year, Southern Manufacturing and Electronics, talking actually about DEI in engineering more broadly, when Loddon was highlighted to me by somebody in my network. So I reached out, got in touch with them, found out what they were doing, and it's an incredible story. What they're doing is absolutely amazing. So I was really keen to work with them to try and get them to the next stage on their journey, really.
Brilliant. Kim, can we ask you?
Yeah, so I'm Kim Elson. I'm the manager of Loddon. I started about 7 years ago with another service user from a different organisation, and I absolutely loved Loddon straight away. And then I got offered a part-time job there. And then about a year and a half ago, I was offered the manager role, at which obviously I took. So yeah, that's me.
And Jilly?
I first came to Loddon 13 years ago when my son was referred there. And over time, I got to know the staff and the service users. And I'd go home and say to my husband, what a fantastic job. That would, somewhere to work. Because I was a stay-at-home mum. And over time, I got offered the job. And best job to work. I love it. Absolutely love it. So, yeah, great opportunities. Great for my son. And it's lovely being a part of Loddon.
Brilliant. So Loddon Social Enterprise was established back in 1976. Can I ask how it came about to be formed, and is it unusual for such a service to continue for so many years, so 50 plus years?
Yeah, so there were 4 companies that started with us, which were AA, Eli Lilly, Smith's Industries, and
Lanston Bagnall, now known as Lindy.
And I think we're quite a unique service. There is nothing out there in Hampshire like us. And I think because of this approach, we've always worked kind of well. And we've been able to provide meaningful work for the service users.
Okay, fantastic. So each episode, I try and pick a particular point in the show to have a musical reference to try and give a bit of something to hold on to remember a particular time. Either that or I just do it to leave an annoying earworm in people's mind for the rest of the day. So if I look back at 1976 and when the enterprise was founded, I see we had a choice of 3 number 1 songs that were all in the charts for 6 weeks. So in 1976, we had Brotherhood of Man with Save All Your Kisses for Me. So some of us can certainly remember that. Don't Go Breaking My Heart by Elton John and Kiki D. But I'm going to pick, and in the show notes, there'll be a link to ABBA and Dancing Queen. So there's a bit of joy to go with what's a sunny day here, certainly when we're recording. So if you can sort of go away with that earworm of Dancing Queen in your mind all day today, then I've succeeded in annoying people and hopefully shedding a little bit of joy. Back to the questions. Can I ask you to give a summary of what services Loddon offers to manufacturers, and also importantly, what you do, what services you provide to the adults that are in your care?
Okay, so Loddon provides high quality of work, and we're committed to maintain a high level of professionalism and commitment to our customers. My role is to work alongside the service users to support them and quality control so that everything that leaves our building is met with a high standard. Yeah.
Yep.
That's something I would say that really surprised me about the work Loddon did when I was introduced to them. I haven't come across any other business like Loddon in the time I've been in engineering and manufacturing, and to see, particularly the testimonials, some of the testimonials that you'll have seen in the past few weeks, Mark, come from the likes of Percival Aviation and ICW and others that they've worked with. But even like the volume of work that Loddon can do really surprised me. The first conversation I had with Kim, tens of thousands of units in very short cycles, alongside that really high quality work for industries like aerospace and automotive, but alongside the core part of what Loddon is, which is that social value. I think it's just incredible.
Yeah, I think you mentioned referrals. I will say, for people who haven't seen the LinkedIn posts, and why on earth haven't you seen all my LinkedIn posts and Poggies, was you talking about customers taking time to actually make video testimonials, not a quick answer to an email of, oh yes, they're great, but your customers, long-standing customers, actually taking the time to record videos to say how good the service is. So I mean, that's testament to the work you do, and it's a very key part of why we're talking today, really, and trying to spread the word of what you do. I think it's amazing.
It really is. I mean, it was me who suggested that we try and get some video testimonials. What I expected to get back was just a written testimonial, or if Loddon's partners were happy to do video testimonials, then maybe a load of stuff that I would then go and need to edit and do some work on. But Percival, I think, were the first ones to come back, and they'd done all of that work. They were more than happy to go away and do all of that work because of the value that Loddon Social Enterprise brings to them, and the value that they have with the adults and the community in Basingstoke. Which, it was incredible to see how happy those companies were to go and do some work for them.
I think that's a good point. I will actually, if people have found the show through the LinkedIn post, or if they go looking for my LinkedIn post about the show, I'll put links to those videos in the show notes as well, because I think it is well worth a watch, particularly Percival one of just how professional the testimonial was, not just the words, but it was a really good video presentation. So that commitment shows their passion. Brilliant. Okay, thanks for chirping in. That was good to hear. Some good points. So we're talking about your customers and how passionate they are as well, and their recommendations. But people maybe have come into the show and we're talking about adult daycare and thinking this is an SME manufacturing podcast, so they might still not quite be seeing the link. So can you tell us a little bit about how the enterprise was first started? How you mentioned 4 core founding partners, customers. So how did this manufacturing assembly social enterprise come about? And maybe tell us what happens in a typical day. What are the typical roles that you do?
Well, historically, as Kim mentioned earlier, it was the 4 companies that got together to provide work experience for adults with learning disabilities.
And then we just carried it on with a typical day. Our typical day is very structured. It's like it reflects a real working day. People arrive at 9 o'clock. They come and get their stuff out ready, and then the day is very well organised. They do some work. Then they have their tea breaks. They have their lunch break. So it, like I say, it's very much set out like a working environment, so they learn these skills. And then it also maintains a relaxed and supportive atmosphere, so that they can still socialise with their peers. And then we sort of like finish by about the normal sort of 3:45 sort of time. So yeah, it's good that it's set out like a working day for them to learn these skills.
Yeah, very structured.
And you have
What's the
something like
sort of work-
20 odd service users per day on average, I think, don't you? Come in. So
Yeah,
you've got
22 is
quite a
our
big team there.
Yeah, 22 is our capacity. So yeah, we've got 22 a day that come in, and some of them have been coming many years.
Okay. We mentioned Percival Aviation, ITW, you mentioned Lindy Forklift Trucks. What are the sort of jobs you do for them? So I think you do some assembly work for ITW, you do sort of postage handling, putting things in envelopes, sending out mailings for Lindy. What sort of the jobs that you undertake?
Yeah, so we do we stuff envelopes and fold envelopes, stuff to go in envelopes. We do about 1,800 a month for them. And then ready-made, we do some corners that go on the ends of photo frames, and we're doing about 20,000 a month for them. And then BMI we work for now is a new company, and we're doing some components like little grommets that go on BMW cars, and we're getting out about 150,000 a month of them. So yeah,
Which is impressive numbers.
That's a lot of checking.
yes,
A
yeah.
lot of quality control goes into that.
I was going to say, with those
And
customers
we're
and those
doing all these jobs at
applications,
once.
with those customers and those applications, you know that the quality is absolutely key to them. The mailing they want to go out, certainly I've spent enough of my life working with BMW that, you know, they don't suffer the odd little slip. It's got to be 100% across those crazy numbers you're talking about. So it is impressive.
Yeah, absolutely. That again was the surprising thing for me. Just connecting those two sides. I mean, that my career is connecting those two sides: the engineering side and the diversity, equity, and inclusion side, and trying to make those fit together, which isn't always the most natural fit, really. So, seeing a company like Loddon, who's working with the local community and has been doing for half a century, but the work with the the component assembly, sub-assembly work, kitting, packing, all of these repetitive production tasks that, as a fellow automation engineer, you will know, trying to automate things like that would cost so much to try and do. Having a company like Loddon, a charity like Loddon, who's doing that work, but also providing so much for the people, the service users who come in, is incredible.
Yeah, and yeah, two of the three screens on the call are sort of very heavily automation focused, but I've all said to people, human operators are incredibly flexible, incredibly dynamic, and you can get so much done and cope with the variety of life with a human motivated operator compared to automation. So much as I love automation, there's an awful lot to be said for getting people to do jobs because they can cope with upturns and downturns and the new bit and the new that, which we need. And I think 20 years ago, I had to pitch to a Japanese audience about us using flexible robots, which were better known as people. So I can imagine with half of the speakers here coming from an automation background, believe us, we truly recognise the value of people doing jobs. Automation could be a pain in the neck. We hinted at the beginning of the show that you're looking for new customers. Can I ask a little bit about what's prompted that, and then also ask about what type of customers you're looking for? Do they have to be local to you? Can they be further away? Tell us a little bit about what's really prompted this conversation.
Yeah, so unfortunately, ITW, who we worked with, relocated overseas. So we lost 80% of our work, which is a fair bit, really. So now this is why we're seeking for new work opportunities for the service users. We tend to work with the local companies because obviously it's easier to transport the components back and forth. Percival Aviation, they are 45 minutes away from us, and they do travel back and forth with dropping stuff off. So Yeah.
Okay. Talking a bit more detail about the sort of the baggage that comes with working with automotive and aviation, how do you meet the approval standards and those expectations of those sort of very highly regulated industries?
So the service users do the work, because obviously that's what we're there for. But then I have another 6 members of staff with me, and we check all items before they go out. Nothing leaves the workshop without checking them. They are weighed. We've got weighing scales if we need to weigh them, and then they are then boxed up, clearly labelled, so we know exactly what's going in there, so there's no mix-ups. So all the staff are trained to check all the work that's going out. So it's always checked before it leaves the workshop.
Okay.
And I think a really key point here is that these partnerships that Loddon have are repeat commercial relationships. They're not one-off goodwill gestures. Companies like ICW and Percival Aviation have kept returning because the work has been delivered reliably over that whole period of time. And manufacturers, although the social value is there and that work is really important and it's brilliant, I would still argue that manufacturers don't keep outsourcing work for years out of kindness. They do it because it works. And having that repeat business is a testament to the quality, to the consistency, to the ease of working with Loddon Social Enterprise and the trust that they have in their business, which I think speaks volumes.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's fantastic that you're able to say who your customers are, because that is a testament to the fact that you obviously perform a reliable service. Because yes, manufacturing might wish to support a local enterprise, but it would be totally intolerant of failure. So yeah, it would wish until you had a mistake. It wouldn't be coming back years after years, and certainly going to the effort of trumpeting how good you are and making videos and stuff. So it is quite remarkable.
Yeah, and with the situation with ICW's unfortunate, but supply chains changed. That's just what has happened. We've seen that certainly since 2020. Before then, I would argue that companies were trying to move to more of a single supply chain type of model that just doesn't work now. Post pandemic, that doesn't work. Production gets relocated, it gets consolidated, it gets automated, moved overseas. That is just a natural part of business. And Loddon has historically had these really strong long-term partners, but dependency on a few customers creates risk. And so the work that we're trying to do now is about diversifying the customer base. And you've heard from Kim before with the different work that Loddon has done. It's really quite easy for them to shift between different tasks and to have those. I would argue, really, it's great for the service users as well to have some. Diversification in what they're doing day to day as well. So it's I think it's important. This isn't a crisis story; it's a sensible growth and resilience story.
Yeah.
Which seems a perfect segue to the next question I wanted to ask, which is, can you tell us a little bit more about the benefits to the adults that are actually working in the centre, and maybe also any benefits to your wider local community?
Well, the benefits is that we're very structured, and the service that we provide to our customers, and it gives them, our service users, the chance when they're there to mix with their peers, but it also gives them a purpose, which there isn't a lot out there for them, and in that we're provided to the community, and in return then the community can work alongside a charity.
Okay.
So
and
we offer, and one thing I do say to the service users is that the job they're doing for when we were with ITW was such a privilege, because that car wouldn't leave the forecourt if they hadn't done their job. So it's a true testament to their abilities, and I'm really proud. I feel really, really proud to be a part of it.
I think that's a really important thing as well. It's not just It's not a simulated environment of, oh, we're going to do this repetitive thing, but it's not actually adding to anything. You can physically see the impact it has on the customers you're working with. You can see the final products on the road, in the shops, and wherever it is. You can see that it's actually having that impact. It's making a real difference, which is remarkable.
Yeah. We've sort of touched on it, but can I ask what sort of kind of work and what kind of customer are you hoping to find? So what sort of task? And maybe, I guess you're quite unusual, but what is there a differentiator you'd say that you offer to others for doing outsourced work?
Well, I would say that we like to offer a wide range of work opportunities for the service users, because there's some that can't do some things and some that can't. So it's good to have quite a range. And they enjoy having a range. They like doing different things. And while we have experience working with aerospace and automotive, we're quite happy to put ourselves out there and work with another industry if we can, and if it can provide the right type of work for us. Companies I think they partner with us and support us because, once again, it's supporting a local charity, but also it's like Jilly said, it's providing meaningful work for the service users and purpose for the service users. I know we go on a lot about this, but there isn't anything out there for our guys, and in return they receive a reliable and a professional service from Loddon as well. We're not just a day service, we're a business as well, so there is a lot of professionalism there, isn't there?
Definitely.
And in terms of the specific tasks, as we've mentioned, manual component assemblies, sub-assemblies, kitting, packing, labelling, bagging, repetitive production tasks, all that sort of stuff. But I also know that Kim and the team at Loddon have a very strict process as to the work that you can actually accept. So you get samples in, you try to do the work. And can you talk a bit about that kind of process?
Yeah, well, any job that comes through, we always sample it first, to see if our service users can actually do it, because we want to give back a high quality piece of work. So we like it all done correctly. So we always do a small volume of sample work, and then we go forward with that, and then we have a small pricing. We're not in it to make profit. We're here for our main thing is to give service users a purpose. So we always sample work before we say yes.
So getting close to the end of the show and going somewhat off-piste, I ask a couple of questions which are more about you and less about the day job, but they can be a mixture of the two. This show goes out on Saturday morning, so most people are going to watch it over the weekend, and therefore can I ask you what topics you enjoy talking about maybe at the weekend to your friends, in the pub, in the shop? What do you talk about when you're not sat in front of a computer doing a strange thing like this?
Well, I love to read. For me, that's a switch off for me from the world. But most of my time is spent driving my daughter around to netball, because she plays quite high level netball. So I'm that mum. But I've also got a passion for netball as well. So that helps the situation. But for me, I'm very much family orientated. So I do a lot with my family. So that's me.
Okay. Me, I'm excuse me. Married mum with 3 grown-up children. Obviously, my son that attends the service, so Loddon services, he's with me all the time. So there's 3 people in my marriage, and but I come from a large family. I'm one of 7, and there's always something going on at the weekend. There's parties. So we're a very social family, and like him, family comes first always.
Poggy, are you going to contribute?
My
You've had
my
once
life's
already,
quite
so
busy.
let's see if you give the same answer.
Yeah, my life is quite busy at the moment, to be honest. So weekends are usually spent preparing for the next week. In all honesty, there is a steam fair happening in the village I live in this weekend at the local pub though, so I might actually try and take some time out to go and enjoy myself.
Sounds good. Final question, again, traditional one, is what would you like to achieve, or what do you have planned for the next 12 months? So what's your hopes or cunning plan for the next 12 months, please?
For me, I want to carry on running Loddon to the best of my ability, and also to gain as much experience and knowledge throughout the year, really, and just make me a better manager than I am already. So, yeah.
For me, to work alongside Kim and the great team, and support all the service users, because say if we hit on it before, there's nothing else out there for them. And this is a great opportunity, and I want to be part of it.
Fantastic. Poggy, second book in the
equally, I would
plan.
say.
What's your plan?
I mean, keep looking at the next 12 months, specifically with Loddon. I really, really would like to see that diversification of the partnerships and customer base that Loddon has expand, because the value is there, the work is there. They've proven that with the customers and testimonials that they have, who have been coming back and working with them for the last 50 years. I mean, that in itself is remarkable. Particularly in the past few years, we've seen so many organisations that work within engineering, certainly small, medium-sized companies, not be able to continue working for one reason or another, and that's something that I wouldn't like to see with Loddon. The social value benefits to organisations here is absolutely clear. A lot of organisations talk about social value, and this is a really easy, tangible example of where companies, even if you're only looking at outsourcing work because of ESG or corporate social responsibility, then this is a company who you can work with to really see in a measurable way the difference that you can actually make. So in the next 12 months, I would like to see that customer base grow, more diversification of work coming through, and a situation that will allow Loddon to keep on making the difference it has been making in the local area of the past 50 years able to continue.
Brilliant. Kim, can I ask you to tell us, how do people go about finding Loddon Social Enterprise, and how do maybe they follow you on LinkedIn or any of the social networks?
Yeah, so we're obviously on LinkedIn. We've got an Instagram page, and we've got a Facebook page, and then also there is our website that they can contact us and look what we do on there.
Okay, brilliant. Before I sign off then, can I ask, do you have a final sentence, question, observation or thought that you'd like to sign off this episode with? I'll start with you, Kim.
I think we both agreed that Loddon's recently celebrated their 50th anniversary, and we just look forward to continuing our success for many more years to come, and we hope people will now, through this, will get in touch with us and come and work with us, really.
Sounds like a good thought. Poggy, do you have one?
Sometimes the best opportunities for businesses are hiding in plain sight, and Loddon is one of those.
Sounds good. Brilliant. Well, I'd really like to thank Kim, Jilly and Poggy for being guests. I think this was a little bit different, but I think this is a real opportunity to highlight a great business and a great service provider. So I'm going to wrap up with the boring stuff, as I always do, and say if you'd like to make a comment, a suggestion, or if you'd like to appear in a future episode, then please email us at inquiries@MTDCNC, or contact myself, Stuart Whitehead, or Joe Reynolds. From me, Mark Weymouth at Sensor Specialists Plus Automation. Thanks for watching. Enjoy your weekend. Cheers.